school put me, I came up here, got you. Try to talk to the kids, get them the word of that, they gonna put me all on me. Tell me I smell like weed, watch this. My job hard. Every day I'm fighting for my life. Every day. I'm coming back around.
And the question a lot of people had was, wait a second, why are you showing up to a school smelling like...
She probably can't help it. She, her car, her clothes, her hair, just her. Everything she you can't, she gonna have to what? Shower, get new clothes, and go to the thing. I'm happy for that school. That's W works right there. Cause that's diabolical. Walk around with kids smelling like that. The SEXYY experiment has officially failed. Hey, what's good, y'all? Welcome back to another video. Now we talking about SEXYY. Before we get into that, I'm gonna talk about the love I've been getting and the hate I've been getting. I appreciate all of it. I don't care. Deadass. We are growing. Leave a video in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. I have a new mic, so I'm trying to figure out levels. I'm trying to figure out everything, how it sounds good, if it's too loud. I don't know if this loud. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it all out. I've been doing YouTube for 3 months. Come on now, give me some bail. Subscribe. Appreciate everyone. Let's get straight into it.
She been comment me.
Now, SEXYY just over a year ago was one of the most popular new female rappers in the entire industry. After receiving a massive marketing push, it really looked like she was unstoppable. But now, it seems like the SEXYY
when she got with Drake, real quick, when she got with Drake, I was like, how did this happen? What are we talking about here? Who is this? Like, people like, who haven't worked with Drake yet? Someone like, maybe, like, Ice Spice hasn't worked with Drake. I feel like Ice Spice deserve more than, like, I don't get it.
Experiment might have failed. Or has it? Let's talk about it. SEXYY is a 27-year-old rapper from St. Louis, Missouri, who broke into the mainstream back in late 2023 after her song Pound Town went viral. After the success of that record, she later secured a remix with Nicki Minaj, and that same year, Drake featured her on his album. From there, it looked like nothing could stop SEXYY. Her music was everywhere, she was trending non-stop. She became the new face of a certain kind of female rap energy, raw, unapologetic, and in your face. However, during her rise, we saw a lot of what I would call dysfunctional behavior. Something I actually dove into in my 30-minute documentary last year, The Dysfunction of SEXYY. Among many things, we had situations like the teacher incident back in November 2023.
Oh yeah, and real quick, go subscribe to bro, because he has great videos, good documentaries, and he has other videos besides the ones that I react to. He has a lot more. So go giving him his flowers.
The young ballet teacher went viral after expressing frustration about her students singing along to one of SEXYY's most explicit songs, which was, of course, Pound Town.
Your 5-year-old daughters are asking to listen to Pound Town. Your 5-year-old daughters are asking, can we hear Pound Town?
A normal reaction, especially coming from a woman who works with children every single day and understands what it's like growing up as a young girl herself. Now, she was simply pointing out the negative influence that songs like that could have on young kids. But instead of reflecting on something which was pretty fair criticism, SEXYY brushed it off, replying, "Girl, shut the hell up and play my song." And that moment right there said a lot, because the dysfunction wasn't in just what she said. It was in her complete inability to recognize her music, while profitable, is also inappropriate for the...
You know what I would have did? I would have been like, clean version coming soon. That's what I would have said. Even if I make it or not, I'm going to show you that I don't need the kids watching it. Because I'm pretty sure her kids, she don't want them listening to some new... talking about, you know, but maybe she does. Maybe SEXYY don't have a brain. Big Sex.
Children who idolize her. And then when that teacher spoke up, she was ridiculed, while SEXYY kept on climbing. Then there was the school visit. Just a few weeks after, SEXYY made headlines again, and that time it was after reportedly getting kicked out of a school in her hometown of St. Louis for smelling like marijuana. She later reacted in a very angry way after the school actually turned her away and essentially told her, hey, you can't be here because you smell like Mary J. And SEXYY was saying that she just wanted to speak to the kids.
So this school put me, I came up here, got you. Try to talk to the kids, get them the word of that, they gonna put me all on me. Tell me I smell like weed, watch this. My job hard. Every day I'm fighting for my life. Every day. I'm coming back around.
And the question a lot of people had was, wait a second, why are you showing up to a school smelling like...
She probably can't help it. She, her car, her clothes, her hair, just her. Everything she you can't, she gonna have to what? Shower, get new clothes, and go to the thing. I'm happy for that school. That's W works right there, because that's diabolical. Walk around with kids smelling like that. People just be introduced against anything.
Regardless of if you were invited or not. And
It's
that kind of
kids,
thing
bro.
definitely made it clear that SEXYY Red was very detached from basic accountability. Instead of leaving, she actually decided to turn up outside the school with a crowd of students.
St. Louis native known for her raunchy lyrics, making national headlines over a recent performance outside of a rally that was for kids. Well, national recording artist SEXYY Red, whose name is Janae Wary, drawing criticism tonight over her behavior and performance after a student rally Wednesday at Chaffetz. The organization involved telling First Alert 4 tonight she was never even invited.
Despite being told not to be on the property. Obviously, that's the kind of thing any regular person would have faced real consequences for, but when you're famous, rich, and poppin', consequences don't always apply.
No, we gotta do something about that, because I remember when Blueface was going around out here in Los Angeles. It was like a year after I graduated when Blueface started coming around, when he blew up. He was going, opening his shirt, doing this, and his girls in the front like this, talking about in it. Before in it was a thing. It was really, I'm like, bro, you can't be doing that. These are 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds. He over here talking about, he doing his dance.
Pattern actually continued because after this came the 4C hair comments. Now, in a clip posted to Instagram, SEXYY Red actually showed off her straightened hair, and she mocked women with 4C hair. For anyone who doesn't know what 4C hair is, it's essentially the natural hair type that most
It's this shit! It's this! This is 4C hair! There, you've seen it! Stop leaving comments! Stop leaving comments. You've seen my
black
hair.
women have. And SEXYY Red, she posted this photo of herself and said, "You carpet hair beanie neck hoes could never." And then she obviously got backlash for this.
And I just hate the fact that we make fun of things that we cannot change. We cannot change hair texture. And it's sad because this is who's in the mainstream media talking like this. And a lot of people are growing up having her as a role model for whatever reason. And they're going to start saying carpet hair. It's already a search in TikTok is carpet hair. The hair texture that you have does not determine how beautiful you are. What your face looks like really doesn't determine how beautiful you are. It's your aura. It's your...
It don't, but certain people take things to the grave and they take it too far. For instance, someone say carpet hair, you shouldn't be saying that, but not because I think it's going to affect other people like me, but because I think it'll affect younger people like kids and stuff to grow up not liking their hair. So maybe, yeah, it shouldn't be a thing, but I don't like when you put it, because you should be old enough and wise enough to understand carpet hair, not my shit. You feel me? Like, you should be able to be smart enough, be wise enough to just leave it and move forward. Now, it's giving ammo to other people to use that against you, but at the same time, not mine, not my content, not my type of, it's not my swag. It's not affecting me, because growing up, it was like that for me. You know, you're African. Look at your hair. That shit, ooh-wee. Boy, it was difficult growing up. You're dark skinned, remember? Growing up, you get older, you're like, I don't really care no more. So her saying that, just disassociate yourself from her and leave it.
personality. That
but I get where she's coming from now.
And then when that backlash came, she responded in a very distasteful way, and she said, "I fuck with carpet hair, but would still call women that if they talked smack." Obviously not the smartest move, because, you know, the majority of her fan base is actually made up of the same black women that she was shading. And also, it's like, you're a black woman yourself, and you have this hair type yourself naturally.
Yeah.
And just because you strained that hair that one time, that doesn't really take
I feel
away
like she
from
was
the
joking,
fact that
but, like,
you
that joke
naturally
is
have
like-
that hair type. You get what I'm saying?
I don't know.
So that's the kind of thing that kind of comes up.
Because I'm going to keep it G, where I would make that, I'll make that joke too. I would make that joke too. I would get braids and be like, y'all nappy ass, y'all niggas need to do something with y'all hair. But I feel like coming from me, you would know it's a joke. Her dumb ass, you think she actually feel like that, and then she doubles down. I'm not doubling down on it multiple times. It's putting it in songs and saying, you know what I mean? I'm not really doing it to that extent. It's just a one-time joke. You take the wrong, bro, I didn't mean it like that, bro. Chill. That's all.
Crosses like, you know what they call it, internalized hatred.
And
this is what made it very ironic, because SEXYY Red's entire brand was always built on exaggerating the same negative stereotypes of black women that she herself insulted. But then we also have the viral tape. And in October 2023, SEXYY Red accidentally posted a private tape on her Instagram story. I'm sure you probably know what that private tape private tape was, right?
Now, people said that you leaked your sex tape on purpose.
It was on Instagram, like a little short clip video, and then through the phone, and it got accidentally pressed like that.
She later claimed on an interview with The Breakfast Club that it wasn't intentional, but anyone with a functioning brain can tell that it was. The timing, the context, the way it boosted her visibility all point to this being part of the marketing strategy. Because remember, her biggest song, Pound Town, literally revolves around her body and sexuality, okay? So when the world suddenly gets visual evidence connected to those lyrics, what do you think happens? A viral storm. And this kind of thing is part of building a brand identity in today's industry.
I feel like that was like detrimental to her though, because I saw people saying, so this is, you're like this, but this is what you rap about? That shit does not match. I was like what are you doing? That video was embarrassing. So you be lying through the mic, basically, type shit. Like, I feel like, yeah, it made her more popular, but it made people also go, okay, you're not doing much anyway, but you sitting here talking about everybody else, you know?
Not just for Red, but for any artist trying to connect their image to a specific idea or aesthetic. It's very profitable and it works. In this case, we have shock, scandal, and controversy being the core of that identity. And in this situation, none of it was an accident. It was all strategy. This is how an artist gets branded, sold, and introduced to the public by the record labels. And like a lot of us know, the more extreme the image is, the more attention it draws. And the more attention it draws, the more money it makes for the people behind the scenes. But here's the most worrying part about all of this. A huge portion of her audience is made up of children, specifically young black girls who look up to her, imitate her, and see her as a representation of what confidence looks like. And so when those same girls watch a public figure leak her own tape and then pretend it was an accident, it sends a dangerous message.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That attention is worth more than dignity. When it comes to being a public figure, no matter how you look at it, there is a level of responsibility that comes with that. With great power comes great responsibility. And it's not about being perfect 24/7 or operating like a role model every second of the day, but at least being conscious of how your actions land and who they actually speak to is very important. Now, in SEXYY Red's case, I never expected that kind of responsibility from her, at least based on how she moved up until that point. But that's exactly the point here. The industry knew that. They knew she wasn't going to filter herself or self-correct or think.
Even the way she dressed, like, she doing it more than Ice Spice. Ice Spice was just at least just having her ass hanging out. She is walking around with, she has tissue over her right here. Nicki Minaj walk around with more clothes. And it's not like, okay, you're going to this event, you gotta be more, like, nah. This is almost every video she wearing like jeans or like little shorts and then nothing on top, like 24/7. She loved wearing like bras. I don't know what girls could bra, bikini top or something like that, whatever. It's just like, damn, you have a kid following for real.
About the impact that her negative actions are having on people, the world, and the youth. And in a way, that's what made her the perfect candidate for this experiment. Because before SEXYY Red was handpicked, and listen to what I just said here, okay? Handpicked to be elevated to the spotlight, there's a very real process that happens behind the scenes. Personalities of this type don't just blow up by accident. Their image, their behavior, all of it is observed, analyzed, and measured by the people who decide who gets pushed and who doesn't. And this explains something a lot of people have wondered about for years, which is, why do so many public figures suddenly explode in popularity, yet seem to completely lack a moral compass? Why do the most chaotic, reckless, or controversial artists get the biggest push? That's not by accident.
I wouldn't say the biggest push, but they definitely get pushed like more than half than like 66% more than a regular person with a regular moral compass and all that.
How it works is this. Labels, investors, and media companies collectively look for what's profitable. Now what's healthy, uplifting, or balanced. They look for personalities that can generate attention, even if that attention comes from dysfunction, because attention is currency. And someone who doesn't self-reflect or set boundaries is easier to brand, easier to manipulate, and easier to push into extreme directions. And during that evaluation process, a lot of questions get asked behind the scenes. Questions like, who can push the public's buttons the most? who can trigger
Yeah.
the strongest reactions, who will go the furthest.
Not even good. Y'all might be thinking like, oh, no, just any. Push you to extreme, the good way or the bad way. We just need to garner attention and reactions. Good reactions, bad reactions, no matter what. We need reactions 24/7, nonstop. Whenever you do something, reaction.
Without questioning the impact. That's why I felt like SEXYY Red was being extra provocative during her blow-up period. It wasn't random. It wasn't accidental. It was very planned. It was orchestrated in a way that maximized shock, maximized virality, and maximized profit. And despite all that dysfunction, it seemed like she just kept going up. Every controversy, every viral moment, instead of things slowing down, it almost felt like it was fueling her career even more. And my theory has always been that there's of course a reason for that. See, I personally think that SEXYY Red was getting this push for one main reason: to promote a very specific image, a very negative one, because in a world where media has always shaped how we view people, especially black people, SEXYY Red became a tool for the music industry to push a modern version of one of the oldest and most damaging stereotypes about black women. I'm talking about the Jezebel stereotype. Dating back to slavery, this stereotype painted black women as hypersexual, uncontrollable, and defined entirely by their bodies. It was a complete lie that was used to justify the exploitation.
Damn, let me see this. The Mammy, Jezebel, and Sapphire are the three stereotypes of black women that have been around in Western culture for centuries. The simplistic depictions are rooted in the slave trade and live on today.
An abuse of black women for generations, and somehow that same imagery is still being recycled today, just packaged with beats and marketing. And hip-hop has always been an art form to empower black voices. However, it has unfortunately been hijacked to do the opposite, and SEXYY Red, whether she realizes or not, became the face of that. Her entire brand, her lyrics, her visuals, and even the way she's promoted.
She has no volubility as... Well, I think what they look for are people with no volubility. Because that's what sells. Unless you're J. Cole or like Kendrick or like a male. Because you can kind of do it. But what that means is, like, you know, you have the... Like, basically you have very good vocabulary. Very good. It's easy to speak. Whatever's in your head, you're able to speak. You're able to say it. You're able to... You know,
it all fed into that same narrative, that the only way a black woman can be seen, celebrated, or go viral is by being sexualized, loud, and reckless. And Red eventually became very successful. She's undoubtedly generated a whole lot of money for the music industry. And for a while, the experiment worked. But now things are starting to shift.
Yeah, please.
A lot of you guys might have noticed how SEXYY Red isn't being talked about nearly as much as before. And there's a few reasons for that. Now let's take it back. Take it way back to how it all started. Before SEXYY Red took off, she was discovered by a Miami-based label and management company called Rebel Music back in 2021. They came across some of her early songs and decided to sign her. Her A&R executive stated that, once she got off the plane and I heard her voice, I knew she was a star. Fast forward to mid-2023, the peak of her blow-up, and Gamma, a new media company, stepped in to handle her distribution. Now let's talk a little bit about Gamma, because this was the company behind her true rise. Now this company was founded by a Larry Jackson. Some of you guys in the music industry might know who this is. He actually spent 7 years as Apple Music's global creative director before leaving in 2022 to start Gamma, a company that claims to create, distribute, and market content focused on black culture. And according to Larry Jackson himself, that focus on black culture isn't just a slogan, it's the entire pitch. Because when Gamma was launched, it wasn't some small experimental startup. They actually came out the gate backed by $1 billion in financing.
Oh my goodness, 1 mil or 1 bill? What do you say?
Well, startup. They actually came out the gate backed by $1 billion.
1 bill. Do y'all know how much 1 bill is? It's 1 bill. It could be $1. It could be a 5. It could be... No, I'm just playing. But I wonder if this dude, Larry Jackson, is that his name? I forgot his name already. His name is Larry. If he lets his kids or his family listen to SEXYY Red, because I feel like that people that push these certain things don't even let their own, like, they don't even entertain it themselves, but they know other people will. You know what I mean? They probably listen to Taylor Swift in his household.
Dollars in financing. And the question is, where did they get that money from? We'll get to that in a second. And this money was apparently being put to work, particularly and acutely on black culture. So $1 billion dedicated specifically to black culture. Interesting. Now, Larry Jackson is a very much recognized name in the music industry. Most people, whether it's managers, artists, or anyone else who actually works in the music industry, most times they know who he is, right? Billboard even named Larry Jackson the R&B and hip-hop executive of the year. They described him as someone who's able to bring things to life, with artists like Travis Scott praising the way he moves. So he's been getting a lot of cosigns from a lot of very prominent artists as well. And one of the first big moves the company Gamma that he started made was facilitating a deal where TikTok's 1 billion plus users got exclusive access to the entire Death Row catalog, which included Snoop Dogg's classic Doggy Style album and the late Tupac's All Eyes on Me as well. Now right here, Larry Jackson demonstrated exactly the kind of pull he and his company Gamma actually has and what it's apparently built to do. Use massive capital, massive access, and massive cultural leverage to shape what the general public, but especially black audiences, consume and how they consume it. Now, when you understand that, SEXYY Red's rise starts looking a lot less organic.
Yeah, it looks
and a
a
lot
little
more
grim.
like a calculated extension of that mission. Now, alongside Larry Jackson, we also have Ike Yusuf, Gamma's president. Now, Ike previously worked at Interscope Records as a CFO, Chief Financial...
Interscope, I'ma shoot at you ducking while you in my scope.
What?
Officer, and he holds degrees in business, economics, and accounting. So his background is strictly corporate, not creative. Together, these two essentially built Gamma to be a hybrid between a label and a media powerhouse. And SEXYY Red quickly became one of their biggest test cases, the face of a very calculated
I want to know who
experiment
else they
that
have.
combined viral marketing,
Who else do they have on
controversy, and
Gamma?
cultural packaging under the banner of representation. But here's where things get interesting. The largest investor in Gamma isn't someone from the culture at all. It's Todd Boehly, a 52-year-old American businessman of German heritage who's worth over $8 billion.
Oh my.
So now it actually starts to make sense where they got that initial billion from, right? So
Yeah, he
the
just
main
gave him one.
investor behind a company that claims to focus on black culture is a white billionaire who also happens to co-own Los Angeles Dodgers and Chelsea Football Club. And that's kind of where the dots start to connect. Because one of the biggest questions people had when SEXYY Red started popping up everywhere was how? Like, how is all this possible? How does someone with that kind of image suddenly get this massive push?
Bro,
from
yeah,
everyone?
you see her tattoos on her neck and chest? How do you make it out the hood? No, I can see you actually making it out the hood. How do you make it out your state looking like that? How are you making it? How are the Lakers calling you up to perform at halftime? They want you? You Lakers, y'all want her? Okay.
Direction. Well, now it should make sense to you. When you realize that the machine behind SEXYY Red included a billionaire investor worth nearly $9 billion, a major media company with deep Apple
Not
Music
even the
ties,
Pelicans
and a
wanted her
label
ass.
infrastructure designed to
Lakers
amplify
wanted her.
controversy, it starts painting a very clear picture. And this is something Candace Owens actually spoke about some time back as well.
Gamma has a lot of power. I'll tell you why Gamma has a lot of power. Because the two individuals that started Gamma, one of them came out of Apple. His name is Larry Jackson. And the second one of them came from Interscope Records. He has a ton of clout in the record community, the music community industry, so to speak. And his name is Ike Yusuf. Larry Jackson, who I mentioned before, is black. And he is the person that I am more interested in.
For anyone who doesn't recognize the face or name, Candace Owens is an American political commentator and author. And
Legend. Now, not every legend is good. I'm gonna keep that. Y'all remember Bill Laimbeer from the Pistons? Legend. He's a hated legend. Isaiah Thomas, the first one, hated legend. So, but I mean, I don't hate him, but they're very hated. So basically, what I'm saying is legend. Or else if you like her, hate her. She's
a
legend.
self-labeled conservative activist. Now, she's covered a lot of these same connections, pointing out how the entertainment industry profits off of promoting chaos, dysfunction, and over-sexualization, especially when it comes to black artists. Now, interestingly enough, this connects to something rapper Ice Cube talked about on Bill Maher's podcast. Ice Cube spoke about the same kind of manipulation, which is what he called social engineering, where record labels act like gatekeepers, and he said that they essentially don't tell artists exactly what to say, but they make sure that the most destructive messages are the ones that get pushed to the top.
The records that come out are really geared to push people towards that prison industry.
But they didn't make you write those lyrics.
It's not about making somebody write the lyrics. It's about being there as guardrails to make sure certain songs make it through and certain songs don't.
And this is an idea we've explored.
So he's saying basically like I can make 3 songs, say their message. I can make one that's gang violence, how I grew up. I can make one about getting past gang violence, and let's say I make a mixtape. One's about getting out of gang violence and me in gang violence, and then I made it out of gang violence. They're gonna put guardrails and say, well, no, this song is too long, yada, whatever. Take away the one where you made it out of gang violence. Well, this one right here is too short, or this one's not gonna do too well. We're just gonna pull it. And I was the one who was talking about getting out of gang violence. So the only one that's gonna make it through and see the light of day and be published is the gang violence one. There's guardrails. They don't say make this, make that, because you might be like, why do you want me to do that? I thought I'm the artist. I want to. So there's gonna be getting saying whatever it is to get that bad narrative, ideology, out your mouth and published as soon as possible. That's what he's saying.
Conversationally over time. So it's
if I'm not
new,
stupid.
Right?
Now
Ice Cube was essentially saying if you follow the money, you'll start noticing how the same people who own major record labels also have ownership stakes in private prisons. Now that's another conversation I'll explore in depth in another video. Whether you believe what Ice Cube said or not, the underlying message underneath is very clear. The industry profits off of chaos, dysfunction, and division. And when you look at what gets the biggest push, the artists who glorify violence, crime, or hypersexuality, it starts to make a lot of sense, right? And this is how a lot of these experiments start. Now for SEXYY Red, I think they decided to push the boundaries even further, especially when it comes to the raunchiness and shock value. Because here's the thing, we live in a time where, let's just say that people are extremely desensitized in all types of ways.
You need something
Nothing
really
surprises
shock
anyone anymore. So to grab everybody's attention, like to grab the attention of the public, you almost have to go to the extreme. You have to be louder, you have to be wilder, you have to be more provocative than the last person, or you'll get drowned out in the noise. And SEXYY Red became the perfect vessel for that strategy. Because one thing about the public is that we react to extremes. If you show us something that feels outrageous, controversial, or wild enough, it grabs our attention instantly.
Yeah.
And in an experiment where attention equals profit, the industry keeps testing how far they can go. They take these sample sizes of artists, amplify the most polarizing ones, and study what happens next, how people react.
Everything's just shock. Everything's just shock. We really need shock. Like in the other video where I just reacted to. There's more than one video coming out today, every day. But you really need to just shock people, and then they'll realize, hey, this is a person, this is a thing. So when they see you again, they're more likely to click on it. What are they doing now? I remember she was half naked. That's really how it worked. Now you can say that's not me, because that's not me. But you got to realize there's other people other than us in the world, and that's how they function.
And responds how the controversy spreads. If it goes viral, they double down on that formula.
Oh my
if it
goodness.
doesn't, they move on to the next artist. That's exactly what we've seen happen in this case right here. SEXYY Red was a test subject for how far they could stretch the public's tolerance for dysfunction, for explicitness, for chaos, all while disguising it as authenticity.
I used to think buying a
Oh,
buildings
we
was
got
only
ads.
for millionaires until I came across
Get your
this
money, big
community
bro.
called Peak Multifamily.
Now, what's happening right now with SEXYY Red though, because she's obviously not getting the same marketing push that she was. Before we even get to SEXYY Red, we got to look at what's been happening in rap overall. Now, a few days ago, we talked about that Billboard report, the one showing that for the first time since the 90s, there wasn't a single rap song in the Hot 100's top 40. Rap's market share has been slipping for years. This is something a lot of people know, right? Labels aren't investing in hip-hop like they used to, and a lot of the newer sounds just aren't connecting with the public anymore. Meanwhile, country, Latin, Afrobeats, and pop are dominating. So the industry has shifted towards safe artists with guaranteed returns, meaning the machine has been, pulling back on rappers across the board, not just SEXYY Red. Now for SEXYY Red, she's undoubtedly an artist who's fueled by antics, and an artist in that category usually gets a huge marketing push during that initial discovery phase where the label throws everything at them to create momentum, and it works at first. It always does. But later on, things start to slow down because antics have an expiration date. That's just
Who else was an antics person? I think 6ix9ine was an antics person, but it was genuinely good music though. I can't lie. Don't lie. 6ix9ine was making good music when he was dropping. I talk about it all the time. When he was dropping on Monday and then dropping on Thursday, it be crazy. Who else was antics? I'm drawing a blank right now. I don't know who else was antics, but I can tell you, I think 2016, 2017, a lot of those people, if it's not Yachty, Uzi, or like those people, 21 Savage, if it's not those people, there are a lot like Lil Mosley, whatever his name is. Was he antics? I don't know, but
that's how it is. There's also a growing level of fatigue
I'm
towards
drawing
these
blanks.
characters who get pushed nonstop, not just in the music industry, but just in social media in general. And the reason for this fatigue, in my opinion, is because people today are way more conscious, way more self-aware, way more spiritually tuned in than they were in the past. Because here's the thing, I'm sure you know this, right? We're living in a time where there's so many things that are attacking our attention, our energy, and our peace. So people can feel when something is forced and when something is spiritually empty. SEXYY Red went through that period where she was being prioritized, where the machine was fully behind her, pushing her into every corner of the culture and industry, but things are a little different now. Just a year and some change later, that momentum isn't the same. The push isn't the same, and the public isn't reacting the same way they did before. And once the intensity of the reactions start to fade, what incentive does the industry have to keep pushing you and investing all this money?
They use your ass. They don't want to keep doing it.
And there's also something to be said about the demographic that SEXYY Red was being marketed towards, which was primarily black women. And based on the responses I've seen online, a lot of, those same women who were initially hyped about her are starting to wake up to what's really going on. Not in a judgmental way, but in a self-awareness kind of.
Probably like what were we doing listening to this? Why was she like this was cool in the moment, but why are we almost like a little bit of the 6ix9ine thing? It was kind of like, yeah, he was making hits, bangers, they were good music, good songs, but you kind of look back and you try and listen to it again, it's like, it's cool, but he's really just yelling and saying kill this person and you're not gonna mess with me,
way. Because once something reaches a certain level of exaggeration or dysfunction or straight up cartoonish behavior,
like
people
OD.
eventually recognize it for what it is. Now, personally, I think that all those black women should have realized, when she made those 4C hair comments, that's what we call internalized hatred, okay? And so I think that should have been the moment where they woke up and they realized, like, damn, she's straight up mocking herself and she's mocking us, right? Now, on top of that, we also know that SEXYY Red's rise was built almost entirely on hype. And when something is built on hype, it fades the moment people take a step back and actually look at what they're consuming. When you change the way you look at things, the things you're looking at actually start to change. And that's kind of when people start to see through the hype.
Give them one of those. Give them one of those. When you, what did he say?
What?
I forgot what he
And
said.
the facade. And I think that's what happened with SEXYY Red. I also don't think that people are as quick to play this kind of music around their children anymore, especially after everything, people have seen from SEXYY Red, but also too considering everything that's happening in the world right now. Because the truth is, there's a lot of forces operating through social media today, pushing certain ideas, certain behaviors, and planting certain messages in.
Yeah, man, I don't know one song. I don't know what the name of one. Oh, Pound Town. That's the name of one. The other one that I know is Booty Hole Pink, Booty Hole Brown.
What?
That's one that I know. Like all these music videos, I genuinely do not listen to and don't know SEXYY. I don't keep up with any. I know people that like with celebrities and rappers and stuff, especially new ones. For me, I'm at that point. I feel like a lot of us are at that point where if you're a new musician and I didn't know you from before you became popular, I gotta low key see how you are a year and a half later to see if you still actually who you say you are. Post Malone fucked me up. He still got us cooked. He still messed us up. Who else is like that? I think Ian's finna start doing country. He pump faked us. He trying to get out of here too. He's not even the best musician. He just it's kind of like SEXYY Red is doing it. Who else is like that? When you come in hot and it's just like, all right, I'm playing you, and then later on it's like, damn, you wasn't even that. You know what I mean? You gotta really be like a player in a game for me to start. And I feel like that's how a lot of people are nowadays.
The minds of the youth. Not in some kind of like conspiracy way, but I'm saying in a very algorithm / attention type of way. The stuff that spreads the fastest is usually the stuff that's loudest, wildest, and most chaotic, and most dysfunctional. And when that becomes the dominant influence in certain spaces, parents and young people themselves start paying attention. And once you recognize the pattern, once you see the intention behind the marketing, you start realizing this isn't something you want influencing the next generation.
Right.
And that shift right there matters.
Hey man, this is a W video. Appreciate y'all for watching. I appreciate you guys for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know how you guys feel about SEXYY and all. Bro, you can see her nipple through this. Her areola and everything. This is the type of, like, she's gonna walk around in front of kids and stuff like this talking about why they kick me out. Like, what are you talking about? I'll see you on the next one. I'm gone.